Welcome to Beyond Six Figures, the podcast that helps business coaches to micro-niche, get noticed, and become fully booked. Learn from top industry leaders who've successfully taken their businesses and their lives beyond six figures. Get ready to level up your coaching business and make this world a better place, one business at a time. And now, here's your host, Ziv Raviv.
Hello and welcome to Beyond Six Figures. Our guest today is Celi Arias, founder of the GAB, the Grown-Ass Business platform, and a leading scale strategist with background working inside major brands like Lululemon and Reebok, as well as years of experience helping startups grow. Celi has built a reputation for turning business chaos into clarity. She's the creator of practical tools like Pricing on Purpose and Money is on the Table, which help entrepreneurs find confidence, profitability, and sustainable growth. In 2024, she was named one of the top coaches by The Upside. Celi, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
It's a real pleasure to have someone that understands scaling as much as you do. And that's something that we must speak out and talk about today. But before we get into any of that, I want to learn more about your journey because you've decided to transition from the fashion industry where you were able to be creative and support big brands. And you've decided to become a business coach. I want to learn more about how did that come to be?
Yeah. Well, I think it was just a slow, organic evolution. It wasn't really intentional. But in my early 20s, I started a fashion line of my own. And I was living in Argentina at the time. And I learned through making all the mistakes in business. I learned a lot about business by making all the mistakes possible, often like most entrepreneurs learn, right? And around year 7 of that journey, I applied for an MBA program in New York. By year 8 of my brand, I moved to the US to do an MBA, hoping that that would fix all my problems and teach me all the things. And while I had a lot of fun in that MBA program, it didn't really answer my entrepreneurial questions. So I eventually sold that brand to a small manufacturer and I went to work for that manufacturer. So I worked in startups. I started in marketing and sales, but quickly was kind of moved into operations because everyone realized like, oh, this girl understands supply chain and manufacturing and understands naturally process because running my own fashion line, I had to understand. And then I moved into corporate brand partnerships and sales, and then went back to startups. So throughout that journey, what ended up happening is I started really, because I didn't feel like I got the education I wanted from my MBA. And I felt like I had failed at my first business, even though I didn't fail. It was very successful and I sold it. And on paper, like those are good things. But I felt like I failed because I didn't feel any wiser by year 10. Like I didn't feel fully arrived. So in all my new positions and experiences, I kind of took my real world experience as my real MBA. So I would be in these businesses going, what doesn't work here? What's not working about this meeting? What could we fix? What could we change? Oh, why did that not work? I got really curious. This really annoyed my boss in corporate America. Don't do that in corporate America, by the way. Don't question the system and question what's not working and what you could fix because no one cares in corporate America. So I would get in trouble for this all the time. But I was genuinely curious, like what makes business work? What makes business tick? What would have worked better here? I had an idea, it would get ignored. Okay, that was interesting. Why did that happen? So I really used my years on the ground in very, very different businesses to learn about businesses. And naturally, what starts to happen is you get in conversations with people and they go, oh, you kind of know about this subject. And they start asking you questions. And then they ask you to coach them or to mentor them for free or guys. So I really did start mentoring people for free, which is like, I think the true journey of a coach, right? Is your first few clients, you did it for free or for a few bucks an hour. right? I mean, probably, how old am I? 10 years ago, I coached my first like small business creative startups for free, for fun. And that's how I started kind of coaching and consulting on the side, is taking all the things I was learning from being a COO at a startup and applying it to other conversations or to other people when asked. And eventually that led to being asked to apply for a head coach role at a coaching company. And I became a coach. And so it just kind of evolved from a true curiosity of like, why is this hard? Why are people making it harder? Why did that work and that didn't work? What worked at this company that I can't seem to apply at this company? And I just got really curious because I felt like I had gone to an MBA hoping it would solve all the problems, and it didn't. And so I kind of felt like, okay, and I got to solve this problem myself.
So you started to ask a lot of smart questions, and you came to those questions from a place of curiosity. You were not trying to complain. You were not trying to be judgmental or to criticize. You were honestly curious about what can be done to improve, to always improve in all sorts of ways. And then eventually became a coach and became like a head coach and grew your own business. I want to ask you, when was the moment when you realized that your business was a grown-ass business?
When I stepped away from being a head coach at a coaching company and working 70, 80-hour weeks for somebody else, I started doing one-on-one coaching and consulting for myself again. And I built a framework. I sat down one day, honestly, at my dining table with a big piece of paper and was like, okay, if I were to do this my way, if I could teach people what I wanted, what would it be? What would that be? If I could give, I was angry a little bit at the system because a lot of business coaches, there's a lot of gatekeeping, or they kind of drip feed you information because they want to keep you as a client. And I didn't enjoy being a part of that world. I didn't enjoy being a part of that industry. So I kind of sat down in front of a piece of paper, honestly, and was like, what would be all the things I would want a business owner to know and understand that they need to build out over time? So I kind of drew this pyramid-like framework originally. And then I did the hardest thing possible, which is, okay, if I really believe this to be true, then I need to apply it to my own business. And in my first year of that business, I made $250K by applying the things that I know. And it was funny because one night I was crying, like you do as an entrepreneur, late at night with my husband, because this was before we had children. Now I don't even bother crying now that I have children. This was just 2 years ago, or 3 years. Yeah, 2.5 years ago. I was crying because I was tired and burnt out and felt like I wasn't burnt out, but I felt like it wasn't working. And I've just worked so hard for so long. And he was like trying to make me feel better. And I mean, he's like, I mean, like, it's okay if you know, a lot of people make like 40 or 50,000 a year or something. And I was like, the record kind of skipped for me. And I was like, dude, what are you talking about? I made $250K this year. And he was like, what are you complaining about then? And I had this moment of, oh, right. I'm also just really hard on myself and really like, did I think I was going to build a 7-figure business in a year with no audience? That's kind of hubris. That's silly. So I kind of like laughed at myself. But my biggest challenge to myself is apply the principles that you teach. And I think the hardest thing, you maybe experience this too, the hardest thing is to coach yourself. I'm so good at finding other people's blind spots and addressing the blind spots and fixing them. And then when you have to do it for yourself, it's just, you have to constantly check yourself. So that's probably the moment where I realized like, oh yeah, I did that in a year. That's a big deal. I need to calm down. I need to just keep applying the framework, keep teaching the framework, keep trying to stick true to it, keep doing it.
So we're going to talk about the framework in a sec. I'm sure people are curious already, but if you go back to that year of a lot of hard work of applying your principles, can you share with us some ideas about what do you think actually worked? What was working for you to get to 250K?
I really tried to do what I teach, which is you don't need a lot of the stuff you think you need. And you don't need a lot of the stuff you're being told that you need. So for example, I had some private clients And I created the framework, and I was able to create a group program very quickly because the framework is not something I just invented on the fly. It's years and years and years of working in business. So it was that day that I sat down for days and kind of was like, what do I want people to know? The framework is based on what do I need you to know? Like in my dream world, you would come to me already knowing these things because then we could just scale, right? What are those things I need you to have in place that makes my life easier as a coach? So what worked? Like for example, people never believe me, but the first 2 or 3 times I ran a group program, I didn't even have a landing page. I didn't have cool, sexy copy. I didn't have branding. I just talked to people. I literally connected with people and was like, oh yeah, hey, you in this community, we've chatted many times and you can't work with me because privately I'm $5,000 a month starting. But you know what? Now I created this really cool thing where I'm going to walk you through my framework in a group program in a more affordable way. And this is the structure and this is what it looks like. And you're going to walk away with this, this, and this. You in? Like the first 2 group programs I ran, I didn't even have a landing page. I didn't even do a Google Docs landing page. Like I literally was so excited to be able to teach more people at once and to test the method. My goal was really to test the framework and test the methodology on more than one person. I was so excited that I had the largest cohorts ever, those first 2 or 3 cohorts, just from my excitement and doing what I talk about, which is early on, posting content is not going to be the thing that creates your business. Early on, it's going to be relationship, connection, authentic outreach, relating to people, referrals, right? It's going to be relationship. So that's something that I did early on. And I kind of did it to prove my point too. Like, and to my current clients, I was like, look, watch, I'm going to launch something with no landing page, no branding, no sexy website, no sexy checkout, no nothing. Watch me go. And so then I could actually also show my current clients, like, here you go. I had 15 people in this cohort. So I did stuff like that throughout the process. For example, I always tell my clients, especially my coaches and consultants, I say, get really comfortable with receiving no's. So in year 1, later on in the year, so a few cohorts in, I created the no cash challenge for all my clients. And we do it once a year now. It's like a tradition in my world. But it's a game that for a month, whoever collects the most no's, so you propose, you reach out, or you did a launch, I don't care. Whoever collects the most no's wins $500 cash from me, from my bank account. There's one stipulation to this game is I get to play. I get to defend my $500. So I'm like, we are at the gambling table and I get to defend my money. I have won every single year. Even this past year when we played earlier this year, I had some rich clients who've been in my world now for some time. And they were like, okay, this year, we're going to get her. Like they were excited. And I was like, ooh, shoot, I might have a chance of losing this year. Oh, I really don't want to pay one of my clients $500. That really sucks. Like I was nervous this year because they were so excited to like beat me and I still won. And it's not about I'm better than you. It's about walking the principles of like every day, rinse and repeat, do the boring thing, keep going, keep talking, keep connecting, keep being consistent in the places you're meant to be consistent, keep moving. So what happens is by week 2, we have to share our data by Fridays for this competition. By week 2, people start to like peter out or they get busy or they get distracted with the client work or like my children or my content or my this happened or whatever. And I every Friday was like, here's my report. Here's how many notes. But by week 3, it was like, oh, I have a chance. I have a chance to beat my clients who were so excited to beat me. And by week 4, I won. And I think that's the reason I start that game is I want you to get really comfortable with the no. I want you to get really comfortable with the rejection because it is a part of business. It is a part of entrepreneurship. So just get in relationship with rejection. It's a big part of the journey. Get in relationship with making mistakes. It's a part of the journey. The faster you get over it and the faster you're like, yep, it's just a decision I made. I went for it. Didn't work. Pivot. The faster you energetically learn that, the better you become at business.
So you started with relationships that really worked for you, and you put in time to build those relationships, to create value in people's lives. and you filled out your biggest cohorts that way. But over time nowadays, like you have your own tribe of followers, your own audience.
Mm-hmm.
So can you share with me a few ideas about what do you do to grow that audience?
I do a few things now, but I do think that it's like, this is where I think we get it wrong in the business industry, which is like, if you're in year 1, don't do what I do in year 3. And if you're in year 10, I shouldn't be doing what you're doing in year 10 if I'm in year 3. So I say that because like, let's grain of salt, right? One of the things that I teach in the framework that I think is really important in terms of your marketing is instead of trying to do all the marketing and be in all the places, it's figure out what kind of marketing, if you are a solopreneur or a brand, this might be different for consumer products and bigger, like a brand that's not tied to a person. But if you are a personal brand, what marketing are you good at? So like one of the things I'm really good at is speaking and teaching now. So what happens is I get clients who go, oh, okay, I want to speak too. I want to make my signature. Can you help me make a signature talk? And can you help me get in front of it? I'm like, no, because we're not really sure if that's exactly the right marketing journey for you. So remember, my first degree is in modern dance. I am a trained professional performer. I can get on stage in heels and talk and walk and teach and not be scripted and not be super practiced and blow your socks off. I'm a trained professional. It is not fair for you to compare yourself to me. This is one of my skills. So what we have to do is figure out, what are your unique skills? Where do you show up best? Is it in writing? Is it in blogging? I'm a total introvert, by the way. So I don't actually do well in being in communities and being up in the chats and the comments and being on coffee chats with people and connect. That's not my strength. My strength is I'm an Enneagram 5. I love to figure stuff out. I love to simplify, and then I love to figure out how to teach it. And I happen to be good at speaking. So when I put all that together, how have I built audiences? I go to other people's audiences and I actually teach something and I deliver value and I give away real value done in a different way with a different spice, with a different spin. And then people remember me and they get on my newsletter and then they come to my free roundtables that I do once a month, or they might watch my YouTube channel, which is really funny. And I bring people into my world in a very like, this is me. You may not like me. That's okay. But I am always going to give you value and good teachings, right? And that's how I've brought people in, which doesn't mean it's right for everyone. And that's what my framework is all about, is finding what's right for you as the business owner of this business and what's right for this business as the entity operating and serving a certain audience with a service or product in a certain market, because it is its own entity, what works for that business and what works for you as the owner.
So let's try and touch on the actual framework that you created and polished. And I wonder if there's a starting point where you can say, I'm not ready to start to implement from your standpoint, or you should start working on these 5 things from day one of your business?
The only time that I turn people away from this particular framework is when they just have an idea and they haven't created the thing and sold the thing. Because you're still in proof of concept stage. You're even way before product market fit stage. You're in proof of concept. And the way I say that is like, look, if you have an idea, the thing doesn't exist yet in the world. It's not real if you haven't made it and you haven't sold it. And I would say it's not real. You know, it's like Girl Scout cookies. You can sell Girl Scout cookies to your neighbors and your mom's friends because they all know and love and like you. Your business is not real until you've sold it to complete strangers and convinced them to buy it.
Yeah. So after research and validation.
After that stage, after you've actually made some money selling a thing to complete strangers, we have some proof of concept. Now we can start cleaning it up.
So let's talk about that.
Yeah, I'm not for beginners. But what then happens is it's the 6 key growth. The GAB framework is based on the 6 key growth systems that every business needs. The easy way to imagine that's why the images are behind me, is if you could personify each growth system, right? Because it just helps us imagine it better. And so, not ironically, each personality is a C-suite leader. You have your CEO, your CFO, your CMO, your CRO, your COO, right? And my whole point is like, you don't need to have budget to hire these people, but you as a business owner need to understand why these roles exist and what they own And so there are just a few specific, it's like the minimum viable things that you need to understand in each department that make a business run. So we get very clear on the vision. Where are we going exactly? Is it written? Is it shared with our team? Is it shared with the public? We get very clear on the numbers, the price, profitable pricing strategy, offer strategy, clear goals, sales projections, and how to build them and how to run a business off of projections, which most entrepreneurs don't do. We get very, very specific about messaging and marketing and what's the right marketing channel for you and your business. What's the right messaging and positioning for your business? And then simple finances and simple operations systems. What are the tasks that need to be managed and what are the systems we need to use to do that? So, and then the sixth key growth system is your mindset, because the mindset, your mindset as a person, and then as you hire key players in your team, everyone's mindset affects those tasks and those metrics and the things we're doing. So that's it.
So what are some of the common mistakes you see people do when it comes to learning more about their responsibilities as a CEO?
That's a really good question. I mean, I'm like, oh, there's so many. I think that one of the common mistakes is thinking as a CEO that you have to, there are two things I see off the top of my head. You think you have to do everything as a CEO, or a really common one that I see is some really great visionary CEOs think that their job is to come up with new ideas all the time. And coming up with new ideas or new offers or new creative content or new ways to do things is not actually your job as the CEO. It's the fun thing. It's where your brain goes to create procrastination and a distraction for yourself. And it's fun. And we all want to just be in creator mode all the time. But a CEO's job is to hold a very clear vision of the future and drive everybody towards that vision, create consistent buy-in from team and from audience and clients on that vision, and keep everybody on the train. Keep everybody excited to be on the train. And I think people make a mistake between I'm supposed to be every role on the train and be doing all the things, or I just want to be like the ideas person and everything else kind of magically happen. And I just want people to like magically want my things because I'm so creative and I have so many ideas. And I think people go in those two directions rather than understand, no, my job is to make sure that like you see what I'm doing and you're excited to be in my world and you're excited to be a part of it as a client or as a friend or as an affiliate, that you're like, oh yeah, she's still working on that thing. Oh, that's really cool. I'm still bought in. That's my job as a CEO. And that's hard.
So it is hard. So in other words, you need to have a vision, but you can't just let go of your vision and develop new visions. You have to harness that vision's power. And actually, it's your responsibility to bring everyone to the same page so that your team are partnering on your vision, so that your clients, so that your ecosystem, they all understand your vision clearly.
That they're excited to be there.
Yeah.
Your clients included. I share my vision publicly, which was very scary when I did it. I share my vision publicly on LinkedIn with people, and it's really nerve-wracking. But I want you to know that I'm actually building something bigger than my one-on-one coaching practice. And if that excites you or intrigues you, I'd love you to get on the ship with me.
There's so much here that we couldn't cover in a short interview. Your point of view on scaling is actually very methodological, very structured, and you seem to have a very, very good eye for noticing what's missing or what's not ready or what's broken in a business so that they could get to the scaling bit. I love your point of view and your work. Where can people go and learn more about what you do?
A really easy way to find me is grownassbusiness.com is the website. And we are cooking up some cool things. Or if you're on social media, Celi Arias on LinkedIn or Celi Grows Business on socials.
And we're going to put all the links into the show notes. And I highly recommend you check it out. Thank you so much, Celi. It's been great to reconnect again.
Yeah, thank you. This was lovely.
And thank you, everyone, for listening for another episode of Beyond Six Figures.
Thanks for listening to Beyond Six Figures. Check out the extended show notes that include bonus material, practical tips, and exclusive resources on our website, zivraviv.com. Until next time, keep dreaming big and pushing your business and your life beyond six figures.